as a normal part of life, they see it as a completely different life. So yeah, I can understand that point about new converts being.
Oh no, he's come off for some reason. Coping, can I come to you? Coping, hopefully you can hear. Can you unmute yourself, Coping? Can you hear Coping? Yeah, you can hear. I'm like, are you another person who can't hear properly? Can you unmute yourself? Can you come in?
Yes, you hear me?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm like, are you another person who can't hear?
No.
Can you unmute yourself?
Okay, awesome. So wait, let me just... So the problem here, I have to mute, so I cannot really hear anything here. Me, Jake, and Mike have the same issue where we can hear on YouTube just fine, but we cannot hear it on the Streamyard. So I cannot hear you now. Now I have to mute myself so that my voice doesn't echo 20, 30 seconds behind. And I think that was the problem for Jake. Like he dropped out before he got to hear you, basically. So I'm going to try to be short and concise here, and because I know interrupting is going to be a little bit problematic, but it was basically, I wanted to make a reference to the yet another smashing interview that you had with Ben Israel and reforming Islam with a stick. My issue with that one is that I think his stick is more like a twig. It's not nearly severe enough. So what I would touch on, and I need to make a caveat because what I'm saying might be perceived as very incendiary. So do you understand, number one, this is not an advice or any call for anyone to do any action whatsoever. This is not a matter of the individual, it's a matter of bureaucracy and what I consider to be morally permissible. Two, it is not meant to be, do not take what I'm saying as a matter of proselytizing. I do not want people to embrace this. This is just how I tend to be instinctively retribute with gratuitous violence, and I don't think that's the right way to go about it, even though that's how I feel. But I want to make these opinions clear here so that it can also be addressed, because I know, like, it's like what Norse said a long time ago, don't become the monster that you're trying to defeat, and that's what I think this is good for. So, okay, where would I swing the stick when it comes to reforming Islam? It will be pertaining to the Imam, mosques, and its followers, because Islam is inherently a political ideology, and not like any other ideology, it has a jurisprudence coming along with it. Meaning, Imams are, anyone in religious authority in fact, are automatically a political operative, and due to the divine mission of Islam, they are also hostile. So, I would place a condition for mosques. The only thing that would permit a mosque to exist is if it does not permit an imam to enter who is hateful, and especially do not let any hateful utterance be the slightest degree of hostility and antagonism instilled upon its followers against the host population. I think should be responded with in the following manner. One, the imam in question, this is the primary antagonizer. Snip off his balls, and if he doesn't change the tune to his preachings, then well, just increase the severity. As for the mosque itself, well, it failed to adhere to the condition that permitted it to exist in the first place, so you tear it down or repurpose it in its entirety. No further discussion, no further recourse. And keep in mind, everything that I'm stating here, it must be preconditioned on evidence, which means that the mosques must be permitted to be surveilled. You must have video and audio, because you cannot just frivolously be accusing in this manner, especially when you're coming about with severe punishments. And so three, and this is the one I think people will react upon, and this is where I want to reiterate, do not take this as advice. For the followers of the mosque, if they object, especially if they are massing on the streets, well, then there is no further, then there is no misunderstanding here. You are supporters of Mohammedanian murder zombies and designated yourself as enemies. And because your ideology is of the type that glorifies death, well, you never give the enemy what he wants. So, spray them with napalm, then douse them in ice cold water after 1 to 2 minutes of cooking. This should be sufficient enough to shock them into compliance. Because you want them to comply, not die. Make them be living example, breathing examples to show that they must change their ways, or at the very least, get out of our way. In other words, holy war, this has this outcome. If Islam fans it doesn't matter what the scriptures say. Again, it's what people do, right? So if they fan the flames of hatred, put them on fire, and burn them until they surrender, reforming into something cute and cuddly, or they succumb. That is the face of holy war. So thank you very much for the gratitude. I think I'm just going to go backstage again due to the audio issue. So thank you.
Thanks, Coping. Oh, that sounds quite extreme. I don't know what your thoughts are. Can I come to Somnath? Because I appreciate you've been waiting a long time. Then I'll come to Ibs. I will unmute you, Somnath. Hello, what are your thoughts on any of this? And DB, you are backstage, but I can't see your face. So I'm happy to have you on stage, DB, if you could have your, if I could actually see you.
I just wanted to make a single point that normally most of the people in your show do not have any idea